obviously he just dropped 3 albums in one night last week, Friday. Today is Sunday. I've already listened to IceMan singularly like about 5, 6 times front to back, trying to just like get a concise like idea of the ideas that I was being shown. I feel like I didn't want to do a reaction because I wanted to enjoy the whole experience and see what was going on. But at the same time, I wanted to give my thoughts because I feel like nobody care, but I'd like to talk about this shit. So, I have some notes for the first time in my life. I have notes or something. Yeah, sorry that I had to like read through this, but I'd rather do that than get lost in thought like I'm already doing. You dig? But yeah, I think what's most interesting about the project, obviously, in every single song he did in Kendrick.
Shout out to Drake.
But that to me is not the highlight or like the shock factor for me. That's not the thing that really brought my attention to the album. To me, that's like 25% of it or like 50%. I feel like he's a guy that's showing to us two deeply seated sides of him that he's been going through for the past 2 years with losing the beef and battling within himself and like admitting to himself that he lost, but also trying to withhold this demeanor of I still the guy in a boy, I still the man in charge, when obviously it really hard. Sometimes when you feel like you might have put your best foot forward and the opponent, so to speak, didn't, but then the masses then, you know, dog, you pound shit. That's hard to deal with now because you don't think you put out your best foot, and if you also get down to technicalities, I feel like you could probably give him some extra points past the like hype than not like us got, because that obviously just overshadowed everything that Drake do because of how big of like a commotion that song was. But I feel like yeah, this project IceMan is really him showing that he is very bothered. Like there is lines where he talk about he died in 2024 and you know he really if he's upset, maybe big up my dogs for the ad-libs there. But yeah, this whole duality in his feelings is what makes this project very compelling for me now. Right? This is why I listen to this shit, because even though you could say that he playing victim and he also really to respond to all of this stuff, where else would he put out now, boy? Like, where you want the man to say, dog, that man is real imps. You know, like I have nowhere else to say that, but in his music, because I feel like if you also go out and just be on the media talking, that lame now, boy. You think you are Drake, this big rapper, why you on the media talking? Fuck that. Spit some bars, bro. Stick to dribbling.
Shut up and dribble.
But yeah, I feel like for the first time in a while, Drake doesn't sound focus on making a commercial hit. For this project, he's solely trying to get his points across as straightforward and not straightforward as possible, because obviously very coded in the wordplay. He's the king of sneak dissing, you know. One thing I did notice immediately though is he was responding to Kendrick alone.
Shout out to Drake.
The nigga responding to every single person that wasn't on his side for the beef, and every like relationship that he had that would have gotten cut at the roots. You know, he just not on that. Almost every song contains some type of like jab or like frustration or indirect response, but it's really like pure aggression. It feels very emotional. Like it's not like a angry, it's just like a dog. What are you really on? Like, I forget who I is kind of way. And again, can't blame the guy for feeling like that. Everybody, you know, in his position, I think would feel the same way. Knowing the kind of work that you put in, and also knowing that the guys that you're absent with at one point was also looking up to you and, you know, also putting you as their goat in a sense, you know.
Shout out to Drake.
And the clip of Drake bringing out Kendrick and A$AP Rocky.
This is my brother A$AP Rocky. This is my brother Kendrick Lamar.
It's like every time Drake starts to open up about something real in his life, there's another voice in his head asking, how is the internet going to react to this now, boy? And the insecurity that becomes one of the central themes in this album, you know? It's like, I want to open up and I want to say this, but I also trying to show like, okay, let's misinterpret and misread what I'm trying to say. He talks about his family a lot through this album, especially his father, Dennis, having cancer. I think he said that he doesn't have it anymore, so big up Dennis, you know, for cancer for real. He talks about all this stuff. He talks about him and his pop's relationship being more like a big brother relationship, little brother, big brother. And I find it very interesting because it shows like not a lack of respect, but like a very different demographic and like levels the way he see himself and his father. And it's not like that distinct of a you know father figure. It's more like a big bro. So if this seems very informational, I am informational Negro. Yeah. But one thing he did talk about that I find interesting is that there's this ongoing idea throughout the project that growing older and actually growing emotionally are two different things. I think there's a line where he talks about that he struggles with the idea of aging, or he's like kind of line, pretty line here. But yeah, I think that's very interesting because some people or most people will say Drake is childish, and him pushing 40 is like, yeah, bro. Like when you sit down and think about some of the actions and some of the things that you would have done, and some of the things that any of us would have gone through recently or in the past, it's like sometimes you have a girl, bro. That shit ain't cool, you know. Even talk about like his uncle and how you feel like if his uncle was to share his thoughts, you feel like he'd relate to his uncle a lot because he grew up now and he could understand it. And I felt that because I have a specific uncle in mind that that nigga is not what I wanna aspire to be, but when that nigga talk, he'll be talking sense. Yeah. At some points, you know, Drake also describes his relationship with his father. Man. On the one side, I feel like Drake still like see or like trying to present himself as untouchable, even though in the lyrics we could clearly hear that he was affected and bothered by the situation. A lot of these moments in the project where he like bounces between distant people but also being introspective, I feel like those are important because it makes the project feel like two things at once, like at this project but also a therapy session. Like we sat with Drake venting about how shit would go down and how it would affect him. Musically though, the album does feel like the nigga that people wanted, you know, Drake that is rap. I mean, it's have a lot of modern vibes within the album, within the beats and the production, but for the most part, it's Drake, it's rapping Drake, and that's what we like to hear, you know. It's had the long tracks, the beat switches, the direct bars, the indirect bars, you know, all that good stuff. The project reminded me a lot of like the headlines and motto era of Drake. One thing I wanted to point out was that a lot of the subliminal lists I feel were even harder than the lyrical lists. Like when he takes the shot in the second half of Burning Bridges, and then begins to diss ASAP Rocky. It's like Take a Shot for Me, and that's a song for TK project where he's going through the whole breakup situation, and Rihanna is like one of the only females on that project that does that reply and answer or call and response kind of situations. I found that funny, you know, once again, where she at, bro? You know? She didn't post that shit once. Vocally, I feel like this might be one of the most experimental projects Drake have, where he uses a lot of voice modulation and distortion, things that I remember him using before in songs like Search and Rescue and P1999, whichever year it is, but 1975, whichever one it is. But yeah, things like that. He really dived into that more in songs like Janice Shut the Fuck Up, STFU. But yeah, I feel like I really appreciated this project because it had a accumulation of different things that people was asking for from him in the rap aspect. Obviously, to have two other albums that I'll review separately when I really dig into them and listen to them. This one in particular, IceMan, I feel like it was a very good breakdown of like old Drake and new Drake in one, because there's a lot of like nostalgia family. The man was bringing back so much different like nostalgic samples of himself from old songs, which to me is like him saying, dog, I in this thing so long that I could sample me. You think like old me is something people living for now and living to re like grab and feel again. And I can use that to my advantage in the present. Me to me, but you to you, you gotta keep up with my vibe now, boy. Like again, when he was listening to Rocky and he was like, "You getting bodied by a something nigga." The only time Drake has ever said that before was when he was decimating Meek Mill, you know. People say Meek Mill still has not recovered from that, and I fully agree with Diddy. What else did we think about this? Yeah, even the Migos style ad-lib in Shabam, which apparently the song of the summer. I'm not too sure what that song growing on me, do I really I like it, but it's like I don't like it damn much to say. Song of the summer, I feel like in Habibti, New Desire is hard. The one where he fully mocking Kendrick too hard for the radio. I think that would actually play on the radio the most because of the BPM and the vibes.
Shout out to Drake.
But yeah, I feel like overall this is a very strong comeback from the Beef project because he talks about the Beef the entire project and everybody wanted him to address things. So for everybody that's saying why he's so talking about it, I don't see that as being a valid statement because as a musical artist who makes music at this point in his career for himself because the nigga is rich, I don't think he cares about what you think about his feelings. I think he put this up because this is how he feels and he wants his real fans to know that this is what was going on, this is what Tracy J been up to. Could be wrong, could be biased. Yeah. Another thing, production wise, Petty nigga, the man dissed J. Cole on a J. Cole beat. You know, I think his conductor either made it or it was made to sound like conductor made. Yeah, I think either a conductor made the beat or it's a beat made to sound like conductor made the beat. I found that to be very funny because the man chose that beat to talk about J. Cole and the whole big tree situation where basically and it was there for it. I'm not gonna go through that again. But yeah, I feel like Drake's song's completely unafraid of looking lame for responding years later or saying what he feels. And with all that being said, I do think that at some points the album does look kind of exhausting because for me it's like, okay, cool, I do get where you're coming from, and as a fan, as a big fan, I do want to hear it, but for 5 minutes straight, I feel like, nah boy, we could get it in 3 minutes. Because the point of it there and the feelings in it there, but for me to really sit down and get in depth into your drama, sometimes I feel like I kind of disconnected and I feel like I'm in a room when two people are arguing and it's like I know what's going on, but I don't care enough to give my input and I don't care enough to feel like I should be listening to it. So that's what I would say. I feel like that's what was going on with more the like introspective, slower songs. That's what I was battling with listening to them. Because school for the first 3 minutes and then after that my retention is slow. I am from that generation that needs that you know? Yeah. But yeah. Overall I would say 8.59 out of 10 album. I feel like because they were separated into separate vibes throughout the 3 albums, I didn't get the holistic package experience that I was looking for in a Drake album. The like roller coaster of emotions between very confident, very introspective, very sad and depressed, sim, pimp, and then we move on to Batman and we mix it up, get it somewhere in the middle. Kinda like how he did with Views and with Take Care and all the other stuff, but kinda understand that it was separated and split up for a particular reason, because he wanted to get off certain ideas and certain places. So I can respect that. I've been rocking this stuff. I'd say my favorite song right now would have to be Whisper My Name. the video for it. I like the intro. Real hard. The flows, the tones. Play part of the song here. Listen to that though. That was insane when you know hear with your ears there. Yeah, I have more notes. Like it's a lot, but it's very monotonous to sit and talk about this in this form for so long. I don't know if people want to hear that, but yeah, I'd say overall 9 out of 10, 8.5, 9 out of 10. Just because at some points I really do feel like I was fighting myself to stay in tune because it's saying so much about so much things that I'm not fully updated about, and so that made it kind of hard to follow along because I have to listen and have to piece things together. And some of the songs feel like it's for people, and I'm sure they will get it, and I get it, but not to that extent, you know. But yeah, I will be banging this and the 2 others for the rest of the year and foreseeable future. I think that little era and pocket in time that we had there where Kendrick was on top was nice. I don't see how he comes back and does anything that makes the majority of people forget what we just witnessed and continue to witness. Because another thing is I think Drake music will get better over time. And even while we was like really simmering the last 2 years, we still didn't see Kendrick push Drake into the darkness. So big up them 2 niggas for keeping the art form alive, and Auntie, for short man, your time was cool, your time was good. I appreciate you. GNX was real shit. IceMan, freeze the world. Yeah, this.